Our next performer is another one of my friends. When I asked him to do this show, of course he said right away that he would do it. And he's a little bit taller than Kelly, so he might have to move this up a little bit. But I was even more specific with him. I actually asked him to do one specific routine that's I've loved, and I've seen him do it I don't know how many times, and it still gets me. And he's going to do it for you. That'll be his closing effect. But now, Rene is the past president of the International Brotherhood of Magicians, Dream 26. In 1996, he was voted by his peers as Magician of the Year. In the Society of American Magician, he received the Northeast Award of Excellence. He was outstanding in the Mount Sinai show last December. He was outstanding in the first ever New York Chinatown Night of Magic last October. And right now, he's outstanding in the bar out in the corner over there. Yeah. So let's give a warm welcome to the comedy and magic of Rene Clement.
All right.
Thank you, Steve. All right. I got my latest invention here. Thought I'd show this tonight. My latest invention. All right.
Oh my God.
Know what that is? Pasteurized milk. Oh, come on. Come on. How many people like that? About half and half? Oh. More like 2%, actually. I was hoping for the whole audience, but, yeah, right, I know what you're uttering to yourselves. Oh. Dairy? Oh. Dare he continue? Let's skim over the rest. Oh. Just move on. All right, I think we milked that enough. Yeah. Talk about the inventions and clever people and ideas. I got to show you something that a friend of mine did here. He had a pheasant farm. A pheasant farm. Yes, he raised pheasants. See, he had a pheasant farm. It was a very successful business. And then he had this idea. Crossbreeding. Crossbreeding. He decided to crossbreed his pheasants with a hen. It was very successful, as you can see. And he called this a fen. It's very successful. He made a lot of money with that, which inspired him to crossbreed a goose with a pheasant. Yes, a pheasant and a goose. He sold that for a lot of money. He called that one a foose. Then he decided to try one more. His pheasant he crossbred with a duck. Oh, no. And this was his favorite. He crossbred his pheasant with a duck. He decided to call this Freddie, because he liked it so much he kept it as a pet. Hey! Yeah, and Steve asked me to come up here. He says, there's one routine I wanted you to do, so I was going to do it, but then all of a sudden he tells me the other day this is going to be a family, kid-friendly show. And I says, but Steve, you know this routine I do? And he goes, well, I like it. Can you kind of doctor it up a little, fix it a little, that it's not so adult? And I says, well, I'll try. Because you see, my passions are card tricks and poetry and stories with a moral, and that's what I'd like to do for you tonight, with the little changes that Steve kind of made me come up with. I'm going to tell you a story using cards, rhyme, and wit, composed by myself, and that ain't no shock. The story you'll find of two gals and a guy, a soap opera of sorts. Now let's find out why. Now, two of the three were husband and wife, a king and a queen for most of their lives. Now, he called her Edith, and she called him Stan. Edith was the queen, and Stan was her man. Now, the king, he was wealthy. Yes, he was rich. The queen was quite moody. Oh yeah, what a bitter person. Now you see, the king, he could smile, but the queen, she could not. It was a child they wanted, but could not be got. Oh, the king was quite potent, with a weapon well made. It's the queen who is sterile. You see, she is spayed. The king wanted a son, an heir to his name, and soon it was Edith he started to blame. The yelling, the fighting, Edith could take it no more. She called Stan a bum and his mistress a horrible person. You see, she knew about Kate, a pretty young lass, the face of a queen and a firm, shapely ankle. Stan lusted for Kate, but he still loved his queen. So a threesome they became, with the king in between. The King-Stan trio, they came to be known. But a king with two queens would be rocking the throne. For you see, lust and greed don't mix well with fate. For soon it was Edith who lusted for Kate. Two queens in love soon sent Stan away. But he quickly returned because he wanted to play. They fast refused him, sent him outside the walls. And if he'd return, they cut off his bald head. But Stan was persistent. He wanted to stay, so he returned when Kate was away. Whoa. Oh, a fight broke out. Edith screamed, yelled, and hissed. Not to mention the king. Oh boy, was he pretty upset. But Kate would return, much to Edith's delight. And they sent Stan away into the night. So we're left with two queens, both happy, rather gay, but not poor King Stan. He had not had his way. You see, he lost his kingdom, two queens, and his luck. I guess you could say he was royally forgotten about. So what is this moral, this lesson we learn from Stan, Kate and Edith, and the tables they turned? Well, I told it to Stan, and now I'm going to tell it to you. You can't have your Kate and Edith too. Thank you. It's all time and baby. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Rene Clement. And let's hear it for Kate and Edith too.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I just love that routine. It's the fun. Every time I don't know. Every time I see him do it, I laugh and I laugh and I laugh. Anyway,